Good morning, everybody. You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is the Morning Buzz, where every weekday at 8 we bring you the best stories. Hello, good morning, and it is always a good day when you have Led Zeppelin as your bumper music. I'm 100% here for that. My name is Tara. I am your free gift with purchase, and I am joined by my co host.
I'm Jazz. I'm part of the buy one get one free deal.
Oh, but you're the buy one though. You're not the get one free because
Oh
the get
yeah.
one free is the thing they don't want, and they don't, you're the buy one. You're the main event.
I'm
Don't
yeah,
don't
I'm
get
the
it
man.
twisted.
Oh
Um,
my gosh. It
how
is
are you today?
it's um shocked. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot has gone on this week, which we're gonna get into, in our lovely
Fair
stories
enough.
today. On our lovely great old campus of Montclair State. The top story being resident students react to campus tours. We're gonna get more into the details later, but just know it's been a very, very juicy week on this Montclair State campus.
Yeah, it's been this is a story we've been covering on the buzz before, and it just kind of keeps snowballing. And somebody said this in 2020, and it's a phrase that rattles around in my head every day, which is just this pandemic it just involves a lot of people snitching on themselves, and I think that's the
100%.
case for some administrative people. But we'll get more into that in a bit. First off, we have our newscast with Anadaji Cruz Rosario. How are you doing this
Woo,
morning?
I'm good. How are you guys?
woo,
Hanging
woo,
in,
woo.
hanging in.
So let's see. So, good morning. My name is Anandaji here at 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and here is your newscast. The La Soufriere volcano on the Caribbean island of St. Vincent began a series of explosive eruptions on April 9th. The volcano erupted again on Tuesday morning. AP says the Caribbean island is running short on water as heavy ash contaminates supplies. Leaders of St. Vincent estimate they will need hundreds of millions of dollars to recover from this eruption. Two nights ago, 2 nights of protests and unrest in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, after a white police officer fatally shot a Black man during a traffic stop in Hennepin County, Minnesota. On Tuesday, it was announced that both the police officer and the city's police chief resigned. Washington County Attorney Pete Orput hopes to have a charging decision on Wednesday. A lawsuit was filed against Jimmy Singh and Pizza Heaven in Cape May County of New Jersey by 20-year-old Ashley Shaner, who claims she was fired after she became pregnant. The lawsuit seeks back pay, future pay, compensatory damages, and other relief. Today in the Montclair area, it is currently we are expecting a 70 degree and a low of 46 degree. Currently, it's 46 degree in the Montclair area. This has been your newscast with Daji here at 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daji. All right, Terry, you ready to get into these stories?
No, because first we have to do sports with Matt.
Yes, we of course have to do that with our Stephen A. Smith. Of course I didn't forget Matt.
Good
You
morning.
can't forget Matt.
I'm Matt Shea, and here's your 2-minute warning sports report. Starting off with Montclair State University sports, yesterday, the softball team swept Ramapo College in a doubleheader with scores of 8-2 and 6-1. And women's lacrosse yesterday beat Kane University 15-3. Today, men's soccer will be taking on Ramapo College in the NJAC championship game. Women's soccer will be taking on Rutgers Camden, and tomorrow the baseball team will be playing Rutgers Newark. In professional sports, in the NFL, the league sent out a memo to the staff and expects them to be fully vaccinated unless bona fide reasons not to. If a staff member is not fully vaccinated, they will not be allowed to work in close contact or directly with the players, while the staffers who are vaccinated will have COVID-19 rules that are kind of relaxed. In the MLB, the Mets swept the doubleheader against the Phillies yesterday after winning the first one in a walk-off fashion 4-3 and the second one 4-0. The Yankees lost yesterday 7-3 against the Blue Jays, but today they'll get another crack at them while the Mets will also be hosting the Phillies again today. In the NBA, the Nets won in dominant fashion despite no Kyrie or James Harden, beating the Timberwolves 127-97. The Nets will get the day off today, while the Knicks will be in New Orleans to face the Pelicans. In the NHL, the Rangers beat the Devils 3-0 yesterday, but tomorrow these teams will face off again against each other. On this day in sports history, in 2002, U.S. Masters took place where Tiger Woods became the third player to win back-to-back Masters. Send back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Matt. So let's get into the story right now. This has been evolving over the past couple days, and it's been moving quick because there's been a fair amount of back and forth between the parties involved. So let's get into this. So, several days ago, Montclair State University sent ResLife, you know, the department that's in charge of the residents and such, sent out what may have been the most passive-aggressive email I've ever seen in my life.
That's putting it nicely.
It's putting it mildly. With the subject, is this the next message you want to get? Pack your bags and go home. Too many residents are not following the safety protocols and are testing positive for COVID! Exclamation mark. This is jeopardizing our ability to keep you safe and on campus! Exclamation mark. We only have 6 weeks before the end of the semester, and we can still stay safe. Stay safe. I'm tripping.
You did a great job.
Thanks. I almost said 2 words in a row. We're getting there. You can still stay safe and on campus, but only if everyone, emphasis, follows the required safety protocols and does their part. Right? This went on. That was one of 3 screen grabs of the email, and it still goes on. But in the most passive-aggressive email of all time, it also includes new rules that were set in place because of this alleged uptick in COVID cases on campus, right?
Yes.
So, in those rules was do not go to the grocery store or out to eat. Well, I see a problem with that in the sense that, you know, not everyone has an on-campus meal plan or planned for it.
And not everybody can afford to get Instacart or DoorDash.
Every day. Right. Only leave for essential functions. Do not go home to visit family. Do not get in a car with a group of friends to go off campus. You must get a waiver to leave campus. Do Hawk check every day. And there were also later on rolled out were things about not being able to go between dorms, and also about that dining thing. I would rather lick the floor of WMSC for sustenance than to eat at Sam's place.
Stop.
You
need to be stopped.
Where there's numerous bugs in the food, like there's a photo collection of bugs in the food at Sam's place. Like it's not just it happened once. There is you could make a diary of times people have come through and said there's bugs on the floor at Sam's place.
Those are vegetable beetles.
Oh, right. You're right. Remember they told us it was okay?
Yeah.
They're
found in fresh produce. Is that what they called it? Vegetable?
Yes,
I think, yeah, vegetable beetle.
Yes. It's just a vegetable beetle, guys. Come on. Yeah. So those are the guiding options on campus. People seriously, people didn't have, when you plan your semester, that includes, whether you're paying the significant amount of money to get a meal plan or not. And there's a lot of dorms on campus where people don't do that because they have the option to cook and just get groceries themselves. Like this was decided a whole long time ago before this new thing, right?
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, and this is from our very own Montclarian newspaper on top of the game. And we're actually going to have the author of this story on in just 1 second, but I want to bring everybody up to speed real quick. So, this email went out from ResLife would just containing all this ridiculous, like these ridiculous things in the most passive aggressive, condescending, substitute teacher tone ever. And Orley Humphreys, a freshman, the kids are all right, snapped a picture outside of their dorm window in Blanton Hall. Because you send an email out dictating all these things and finger pointing at the residents specifically. And she snapped a picture outside of her dorm, which is like easily 50 people's worth of potential students being taken on a guided tour. Close to each other in a big group. Okay, that Montclair is still cool with that. So she put that picture up on Instagram with the caption, "Welcome to Montclair State University, a place where the staff pins the blame of rising COVID cases solely on students living on campus because it's no way it's their fault." The post moved quick, over 900 likes at the time of writing, and which led to a petition being thrown up, which led to this situation where now they're talking about town hall meetings that are going to start today. But we'll get into that in a minute. Right now, let's bring in. I want to bring in the author of this story, who is Carly Campbell, who did an amazing job of writing this up on the Montclarian website. Fantastic article. How are you today, Carly?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for gassing me up. Really needed that this morning.
It's true. It's a great write up on the story because it also has all the pictures of like the group of like 50 plus people outside of Blanton.
Yeah.
So so you've been following this story since it broke. What is the experience been like for you? What have you been seeing?
So I've been following this story, I think, ever since the fall 2020 semester, because this is not an isolated incident. They've been doing this for quite some time. That email, like the like follow protocols or else, there was like a derivative of that came in very early on in the fall semester, saying that they had already kicked out 11 people and they're willing to kick out more. This isn't anything new, and I'm glad that people are starting to recognize this now that tours are a thing, because back in the fall 2020 semester, obviously, tours were not a thing. No one wants to go to Montclair when it's freezing. I mean, it's still freezing, but it's a nicer kind of weather. But the reason why I've been so following this story, I'll raise my volume, don't worry. The reason why I've been following this story so hard is because I'm a residential student. I live in Freeman Hall. I know that there are other people who need resources. They need to go to the grocery store. They need to basically, live life. And I have a meal plan. I'm very fortunate that I do, but I can't say the same for everyone else.
Right, that's the big thing with this is that not everybody planned this. Like you have to buy the meal plan like at the beginning of the semester, and so you have access to the vegetable beetles. I mean, food offered on campus.
The very, very nutritious vegetable beetles.
They're gluten free, so we don't have to worry about that.
Gluten free.
You guys are some comedians. I love this.
This episode of the Morning Buzz is not sponsored by gluten-free vegetable beetles at Sam's Place.
Gluten-free vegetable beetles. When you want to go paleo, but just aren't ready.
Yeah, go to Sam's Place. They'll hook you up. But that's all this to say, the dining on campus isn't a great option to begin with, and not everybody can even do that. So some people, cook and go get food and cook if they have the chance to at the dorms. I would absolutely.
And plus, the other thing is we have to consider is not everyone can eat some of the food that they have at Sam's or Freeman for that matter. I have a lot of serious allergies, so much so that I'd have to fax my allergist I'd have to ask my allergist to fax the entire list because it would take me too long to remember it. There are some days where I can't eat at either dining hall and I have to order out because I'm afraid that I'm going to get an allergic reaction because I am allergic to fish. That's the one. It's funny. I support pet fish. I have several pet fish at home, but I can't eat them.
Team fish.
Team
Fair
fish,
enough.
yeah. And plus, like, that's just my case. There are people that have dietary restrictions that can't have anything with gluten, that are allergic to dairy. And there's also people who have dietary restrictions because of religion. Like, some people need halal food, some people need kosher food, and only recently have dining halls offered that option for kosher food. So, like, this isn't just like one person. It's not just, oh, I don't want to eat the vegetable beetles over at Sam's.
I'm not on this paleo wave.
Yeah, it's I want to actually have food that I can eat and have be able to eat without breaking code or getting myself sick.
And
Right. So,
yeah.
what's up, Jazz?
No, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's just like, for one, right? I live in the village, so it's expensive as it is, and I have a kitchen in my apartment, so I'm not going to have a meal plan if I can cook food. And to me, I don't know, maybe this is where my mind goes. If you're trying to limit people coming on campus, why would you encourage people to order groceries back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? Does that make sense? That's number
No.
one. And number two, I always say this, my friends know me as this. I'm somebody, I don't have an issue following rules. As long as they're set ahead of time so people can accommodate themselves, and B, if you're making accommodations for the students, you are not lowering meal meal plan. God bless you, Tara. You're not offering meal plan reductions. You're not offering commuters to have meal plans so they don't have to come. And that's a whole nother issue that I'm glad that was brought up with this whole situation. This university is only 25% residential,
Actually, 30%,
30%
according to an
residential.
article by money.com.
Thank you. It's a 30% residential school, right? With COVID, you are trying to open and allow normalcy and allow in-person classes again. I know some people who did Hawk Mix started the semester online and are now finishing in campus. So it's like, I'm not saying that, residential students, maybe people coming in and on campus, may not be a factor, but it's like you can't solely blame that, and then you're not. I'm trying to say this in the most respectful way. It's like you're not providing anything that can help these students besides being extremely passive aggressive, like giving very much Regina George energy in these emails. Like, I
Oh,
don't know if
very.
anybody, very much Regina George, like, so you agree? You think you're gonna get out? Like that's the energy
Very
I'm getting
it's
from them.
it's very that it's very
Yeah.
it's very that. And look, I mean, this is my take, so value it however much you want. I don't, I don't really care. This is my take, right? The number
Speak
of
your truth.
students on camp, I mean, I try. But I'm gonna say this, right? And I've said this before about different, because during over the COVID pandemic, there's been different ways that this keeps coming up, right? The number of students on campus should be 0. Period. I'm
I
not.
agree.
I
Well,
mean,
I mean, people who need accommodations and who may not be safe in their homes or who may need somewhere to stay aside, you know what I mean?
right.
Like,
The
to
the
really,
number
yeah.
the number of like voluntary people on campus should be 0. You're playing with something that should not be played with. This is this. I don't know whether this came out of the fear of losing profits
Oh, that's
or.
definitely what it was. And nobody can convince me of anything different.
Okay, so we're on the same page. Cool.
That's definitely what it is, yeah.
Or the fact that I find a lot of faculty, especially older faculty, is not willing to hold themselves to the same standards of learning and using online learning technology. I don't know where it comes from exactly, but the number of like voluntary students on campus, with excluding special circumstances, we'll call it.
Well, you have to also consider that, like, there are people that have to live on campus because of certain majors. I know people that are a performing arts major who need to stay on campus because that's literally how they can get to campus. There are people that are out of state students that have in-person classes and they can't like arrange any circumstance with their professor. And of course, there are students with disabilities who need to have a place to go because stuff like Zoom or whatever streaming service your class uses isn't accessible to them.
No,
Right.
I
So let me
agree. I think Tara means like, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like I'm mansplaining right now. I feel like what Tara means is like it's circumstantial. So the English, wow, early in the morning, circumstantially, like to the side, like people who actually need these things for the reasons you just listed aside. She
Right.
means totally voluntary.
That's
like
exactly
people
what
who
I
just
mean.
want to like kind of just come just to be here, or who may live here and not need to be here. I said people who may like a big thing is people who have issues at home. Just because you have a house to go to doesn't mean it's the safest place to go
Does
to.
not mean it's safe. Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. And you actually
Then
articulated it better than I did. That's exactly what I meant.
yeah, like so just because somebody has a house doesn't mean it's safest to go to. That if there's a performing arts major, the teacher should change it in a way where the students don't have to come in. That's what I feel like she's trying to say.
Right.
Like performing arts majors, like needing to come in, they should change it in a way where they don't need to come in, or accommodate those students who so they don't feel like they have to. Students with disabilities, it's not hard to accommodate to students if you claim to care about students' education first. That's what
Right.
makes me think that it's not, and that's what Tara, I'm glad you said it, and Carly, I'm glad you explained it, because you both together with your ideas make my point of it's not like if you truly cared about students like you say you do. Yes, I understand it's a job. Like I'm not, I know that. It's a job, you want to get paid. I get that. But if you're motivated as an educator to care about students, you are going to try to exhaust every opportunity you can. I'm sorry.
Right. And
Call a
like
spade a spade. Like it just is what it is.
it is no, you're 100% right. Like the decision to, try to keep housing as close to normal as possible. You will not convince me that it's not profit driven. So let me retool that because I may have spoken I may not have articulated it right. The number of students living on campus should be as close to zero as possible. The number of students taking in-person classes should be as close to zero as possible. The push should not be toward getting students on campus. The push should be toward keeping them off campus because you're playing with something that's not meant to be played with. Okay? This is not like the fact that they still want to get housing money out of people just to have them come on campus. And Carly, you brought this up in your article. Allison McCann, who was somebody was interacting with the story on social media, said, "Why are students paying an exorbitant amount of money to go sit in our rooms and do online classes if we can't have guests or go to the grocery store?" Right? Like it just seems contrived that they did housing the way they did it all. It seems completely profit driven to me.
And exactly. And I keep cutting you off, Tara. My apologies, but it's
no, you're good.
A big thing about me with education, right? Like I don't see myself working in education in the future, but I know people who do. And I see the fire in their eyes for students. And that's where my issue is. You want students to come on campus and try to push for a sense, because I know this semester, I believe that I heard some talks about they wanted to push for normalcy this semester, right? But they realized a lot of students, actually last semester even, fall semester, they were trying to push for people to come in. And then they were like, yeah, no, then they realized, okay, yeah, no, it's still rampant. So this semester, they're trying to push. So next semester, I know it's just going to keep going and going and going, where they're going to try to open everything up and get back to normal. And it's like, I don't want to be so critical because administration has also suffered. They're human beings who have also suffered from this pandemic. I acknowledge that. I empathize with you on that. You know what I mean? Most of them. You know what I mean? But it's like, you have to understand, just like how everything in this society works, it's always the bottom who gets the brunt of whatever's going on. It's students that I feel like you're not listening to. It's like, how parents be like, back in my day, we didn't have to go through this, or you're just complaining we went through worse. And it's like, you understand that you're not experiencing right now what I'm experiencing. So as an administrator, especially the higher ups, know particular names involved. You know, if the shoe fits, sorry, Cinderella. But you know, it's like if you know you get paid 5, 6 figure salary, maybe. You maybe get to work from your home. You may never have to deal with what's going on. Meanwhile, students are dealing with trying to figure out, you know, I still have a job on campus. If you really, you know, were so worried about students spreading, you wouldn't have opened up my department. If you really didn't want numbers, you wouldn't have opened up housing unless you went through what you did over the summer where people write an appeal and they're like, okay, so, you know, my house is terrible, can't do that. Or, you know, I have a XYZ disability where, you know, online learning really isn't the easiest for me. I need to be on campus for this. Or, you know, I live in Oklahoma and one of my classes, you know, just something like that. It's like, I feel like if you wanted to, you would. Like, you know how in a relationship, they say, you know, if they want to, they will. Like, if he wants to call you, he'll call
if you really were
like,
concerned about
exactly.
keeping students safe, you would be more
You
focused
wouldn't
on that instead of trying to get them back
open-
on campus as much as possible.
You wouldn't have doubles be filled.
Right. So here, and the kicker, and like the thing that puts such a great emphasis on this is the return of tours for potential students, potential customers.
They're not required, not customers. They're not required.
It is what it is. Look, it is. Don't.
Spade a spade.
This is not even anybody directed at any one individual. Okay. Student tours are for potential customers coming out of high school looking for a college. That's what they're for, period, the end. Agree with me, don't disagree with me. Your tuition will tell you exactly whether it's a business or not, okay?
That's why she's the main character, ladies and gentlemen. That's why it's the main character.
I just wanted to say,
go ahead.
Before we continue further, I'm so sorry for interrupting you, because like I know you're about to unleash righteous justice right now, but
she's the main character.
Righteous justice, she said.
She's the main character. I'm fine. Main character.
I'm the main character in my own mind. What's up, Carly?
There are virtual tours. There are literally signs on campus saying, hey, you can do a virtual tour. Sign this QR code. So people, and there's also website stuff available on the website. So yeah, they could have. I have a younger brother who might be coming to campus, and also his birthday is tomorrow. What up, Dill? Happy 18.
Oh, happy
18. Birthday!
He's probably not going to see this. He's in school right now. But like either way, my little brother is very well aware of what the campus is like because he's visited me my freshman year. I can't say the same thing for other kids, but he sure knows that he can just go on the website, just tap on the keys, go on the website, do the virtual tour, watch the funny videos or whatever they have you do. It's something that people should recognize. And I know because I did a lot of college tours when I was 17. Yeah, I was 17 at one point in my life, believe it or not.
Right.
I know that like college tours will give you the most shallow ideal of what's going on campus. And yes, I know like it's some people are really want to do it, but most colleges have had virtual tours since the beginning of the internet. Like use Google Maps for goodness sake.
100%. And this is like the kicker, right? Is because like this email went out, and like you said, Carly, this isn't the first time. This has been going on for a while, that there's been this back and forth with people with the administration kind of getting finger pointy, even though they're bringing students on campus to pay for housing. And then they do this thing where they're having student tours in person with total strangers. Like you're trying to get on residents about, what they do, who they interact with, doing hawk check and whatever. You're having total strangers come in groups at a time and walking all over campus. There's a picture from Instagram user that you put in the story, Carly.
Yes.
Jess Pochek. Yes. Where there's a picture of them inside Machuga Heights. Like they're bringing them into the buildings.
And you're exposing student tour guides to them as well.
Right. You're exposing unless you're having all of these people check in, which you're not. Like you're literally like talking out of both sides of your mouth right now. Okay? You're saying that you're finger pointing at residents, even though you're the one that invited them. Okay, I'm gonna share the screen. If you're following along on Facebook Live, I'll show you what's
And on
going
YouTube
on.
later.
It'll be on
Hi.
YouTube later.
To the future.
Come see the YouTube, by the way. Those views are never high enough. We do all right. It's ridiculous, right? Like, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You're saying students, okay, we want you back on campus so we could charge you for housing and for regular classes to make it seem as normal as possible. But when things hit the fan, we're gonna get
jail
antagonistic with you, okay? And at the same time, we are gonna have tours in to bring in potential students / customers in the fall. Are you kidding me right now? Like, this is why, like, that there is a major administrative change at Montclair State coming soon and people are celebrating. This is why. Call it what it is.
Well, it's like, the one thing I'm kind of glad they did, like at least for housing, is update the quarantine policy, because it was even worse in fall 2020. It's still 14 days you have to stay in your room. But before that, they had people literally going to Sam's to pick up orders. I believe they started doing delivery extremely recently.
But so, do you see what I'm talking about?
Oh, it was like beautiful. I was in quarantine twice in a row. I'm very fortunate that, like, I got food delivered to me once because I was here on campus during Thanksgiving. They had to. The other times I had to go all the way to Sam's. I live in Freeman. They wouldn't let me go to that dining hall, but I had to go halfway across campus, all the way across campus. What am I saying?
It's all Sam's. The way.
And there was a time where in Grubhub, which is like the app that you can arrange to have pickup food, that was down for my second quarantine. So I literally had to go in Sam's, wherein like I had to wait in line with other people. I double mask and like social distance, of course, but still.
Everyone's not like that. And you were considerate. And some people may not think about it, and everybody's not as considerate.
Right.
I could talk about this forever. It's just to kind of end my spiel. It's like, if you say you care about the students, please show it. I understand administration are humans. Like, I want to reiterate that. Like, we all felt, some impact from this, some more than others, a lot more than others, and it's just all about not like, don't be a Regina George to your students and then, be halfway with your rules, and then 6 weeks to the end of the semester be completely rude, and then only want to backtrack because it went viral on social media. Like,
right, because somebody called you on it.
In this country always happen, and people won't take accountability because it went viral on the internet. Like, that's the case.
Right. I mean, just to kind of put a button on it, like this, and now they're talking about town hall meetings. There's going to be one of them today, I believe at 3:00. We're going to look into getting
tours as well. They are now limiting it to 5 total. It's still going to be the same 2 parents, 1 child. Before it was, I believe on the website, allegedly 8. I included a screenshot in the article, but the tour group sizes can range. Like, I've seen more than 30 people in a tour group before this, and they were blocking major roadways. They're going into buildings. They're going into academic buildings. Like, I've seen a whole crocodile line of them leaving the school communications. So
right, it's ridiculous.
See what happens tonight with the town hall.
Right. And like you said in the story, University and Res Life have declined to comment so far. So keep it posted. All I'm saying is, if you care, if you care, show it. Like, if you're gonna do it. Like you said, Jazz. Like, and again, this is why there's a major administrative change coming, and students are celebrating. Carly, thank you so much for coming by and writing the story. At staying on top of this issue. We are going to take a break right now. Take a deep breath in, unclench your jaw, and enjoy this break while we reset, and we will see you on the other side. What's up, everybody? You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is the Morning Buzz, where every weekday at 8, we bring you the best stories from around campus and around the world. I am your host, Tara, and I am joined by
her sidekick, Jazz.
And we are going to get into this next story right now. Jazz, what do we got?
All right. Thank you, Tara. The NFL is soon to require vaccinations for their employees with some exceptions. All right, this is actually pretty cool because I know somebody who now interns for the NFL. So this is a cool thing. This is an article according to CNBC. The article states, quote, the NFL is taking its strongest stance yet when it comes to returning to normal from the pandemic. The message, get vaccinated. In a memo obtained by CNBC, Commissioner Pedro Godel said, in light of expanded vaccine eligibility, it is appropriate to now further steps to educate about and promote vaccine availability and acceptance within the NFL, end quote. I personally think this is a great thing, especially now with the research, and we're seeing people who took it and we're watching them. And it seems like, with the exception of the Johnson & Johnson, which came out earlier this week, about, some 6 cases out of almost 7 million who had, some complications. It seems like everything is going well. So I personally am all for it. If you want to return to some form more normalcy, especially with the rate that this pandemic has gone, I feel like, some medicinal intervention needs to happen. But I mean, for me, I agree. What do you think, Tara, Matt, Daji, anybody?
Right. I'm 100% with you. I mean, it's, I'm very much of the camp of if you want to get back to normal, you got to put the legwork in first, and do what you have to do. Like a lot of people have been doing what they have to do over this whole thing. And I applaud you, by the way, of anybody who has been, staying on protocol with the masks, social distancing, hand washing, all that. I applaud you.
Thank you, Tara.
Well, no, I feel like that needs to be said because usually the people that don't do it are a lot louder. So I just want to make sure, people know that and understand that you're not alone with that. But yeah, no, I agree. Like this, it's you got to put the work in. That's really all it is that if you want things to get back to normal, if you want, to see progress, you got to chase after it, right? It doesn't just come to you. So like we're fortunate enough that we've been given the tools to enter the final act of this pandemic, right? We've been given the tools by, the amazing scientists who made this happen. So like use them, absolutely use them and enforce that they get used. So yeah, 100% I agree. Matt, how you feeling?
So I have some good thoughts on this. I think that last year the NFL played their season despite being in a global pandemic, which was insane. Like we didn't have the vaccine at the time where things were being played, so it was basically like these players had to follow the strict protocols or else. And there were times where games would be postponed, players would be out for a couple of weeks due to having COVID. So like I was one of the people that like going into the summer of the 2020 season, I was super nervous. I'm a big football fan. I love football like so much. And I was really excited to see my Saints play this past year. And there's just so much uncertainty. And that's something that we've seen throughout this entire pandemic is we don't really know. And so I think I have to applaud the NFL, although they did play during a global pandemic, which probably wasn't the smartest idea considering, it's a global pandemic, but they did like do it really well. I'd say they like were tested probably every single day and they only had to cancel a few games, but those few games did make a pretty big impact. Like I know the Steelers had to play in their week 8 bye week. And one player was super upset because so what they did is they basically had an outbreak in like the 4th week of the season. So they had to miss their week 4 game. And then they basically put their bye week at week 4. So they didn't play. And then they moved the game to week 8. But this tight end, Eric Ebron, was super upset about that because he planned his son's birthday party on the week that he was off. So now the NFL switched it all around and basically gave them week 8 bye week, which is probably one of the better ones. Because you have to think about it, it's a 16 game season, 17 weeks. And if you have the week 4, that means you're going 13 games in a row.
Yeah.
So he was like super excited about having week 8 because that's like in the middle of the season. So you go for the first half and then you get a nice little rest and then you play the rest of the half of the season. And so he was very upset about the fact that he had to had to play week 8 because he missed his child's birthday.
Right. That's all good stuff to know too, because this is a bit of a change in position from the NFL. From like you said, them playing a full season without too much consequence. And I mean, I've it's for all sports too. Like, this has been kind of a thing. As a hockey fan, like, seeing the Devils get essentially taken apart by COVID, and like weeks are getting missed, players are going out randomly, and then when they do get back, they're still recovering. They're not on their A game, and
Yeah, there was
like
just a report today. So this 24-year-old NBA superstar, Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics, he's like one of the best players in the league right now, and he's super young. He got COVID, and so now he's back, and he's like been quarantined and stuff. He's clear to go, but now before every game, he has to use an inhaler. He never used an inhaler before a game, and now he has to.
right, like it's
'Cause your
changing.
lungs,
Like,
yeah.
what's up?
No, I was saying because your lungs, like, it messes with your lungs. You can't breathe.
Right, like these are like long-term consequences. Daji, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Honestly, I feel like you guys hit all the points. In terms of, yeah, it is the correct way to go about it, to advocate the vaccination. And then I read also, like, they're doing what Rutgers did, which is funny. If they have like a religious reason for not taking the vaccination or anything like that, they don't have to take it. So I feel like that's nice. It's giving them freedom of expressing their own religious matters or any type of thoughts about it. So I think it's the right thing to do, and I feel like other teams should do it too. Sorry, not teams, but like sports such as soccer or baseball. So yeah, I'm all for it.
I'm excited. I'm excited because if everybody does end up getting vaccinated in the NFL, then I don't think there will be any games being postponed, and that this season should run smoothly. And it's funny that they, last I was just talking about how like some games were being canceled and like they didn't play enough, and now this upcoming season they added another week, so they're going to be playing 17 games in an 18-week season rather than 16 in a 17.
I mean,
Slowly but
yeah.
surely.
So exactly, that's exactly it. Just stay on it, stay diligent. It's what you have to do. We have one more COVID-related story we're gonna breeze through real quick before we we'll just touch on it real quick, which is that there recently, this is from Travel Pulse. The Senate committee holds hearings on the state of travel and tourism during the pandemic. The first hearing happened yesterday, and this newly formed U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Tourism, Trade, and Export Promotion, which is led by Chairwoman Jackie Rosen and Ranking Member Rick Scott, which is cool because they're discussing, the kind of the future of a lot of stuff in the U.S., like tourism stuff that is, has been taking a big hit. But that's, it's good to see people discussing that on a larger scale instead of just saying open or close. So I think this will be something interesting to keep an eye on. But right now, we are going to move on to our next thing.
So this is kind of more of a lighthearted / sentimental experience. Those of you who may or may not know, famed rapper and actor DMX, aka Earl Simmons, passed away April 9th due to a heart attack. And yesterday evening, his hometown honored him with a candlelight vigil. Here to help me out with the story is also Thomas, our good friend Thomas. It's a very bittersweet moment. Thomas, I want to know first, how did you feel when you heard the news?
Obviously very, very upset. DMX was such an iconic rapper since I can remember.
Since before we were born, even.
Since before we were born. I remember his voice and his vocal delivery so vividly, like in my head. I'm not sure if you guys recall his, I think it was his 99 Woodstock performance where,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
oh my
The
God.
whole
And
It's just
world
like an
just
ocean
crammed.
of people. Yeah, this whole ocean of people just bouncing to one guy on stage holding the whole thing down. It was amazing.
it was absolutely wild. Like you couldn't see where the crowd ended. It looked like he was performing to planet Earth. Um, and I remember talking about this. It was either last week or 2 weeks. I think it was last week that he was on life support at the time.
Hmm.
So it's, obviously part of. I was always hoping that he would make it through, but it's great to see that his hometown is honoring a legend such as himself.
Yeah. It was so like, all you hear is da 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 da, and then you hear the boom, and then everybody knows. You all know what I'm talking about. You hear the da da da, and then his voice, and he was just always like I saw on Twitter. By the way, you should definitely check us out at WMSC on Twitter. Tweet us, interact with us, have fun with us. But on Twitter, somebody said like everybody in the world seems to have. She was like, I feel like I'm one or two people who has never had a picture with DMX because everybody has some crazy random story. He was at a wedding and he was doing one of the traditional like line dances. Somebody said they met him at like a Waffle House somewhere. Just to name a few, and he was just always so happy despite what he went through. And I'm about to tear up right now. This is wow. He was always so positive. And even if you weren't a heavy, heavy DMX listener, everybody knew DMX. Everyone. My mother, who is an African immigrant, called me crying when she found out DMX died. My dad called me, same thing, immigrant. It was like, oh my gosh, Jazz, did you hear? And I was like, yeah, so just to see how much he touched people, despite what he went through, he was just always so happy. So, that's just what I wanted to say. And, he's from, and in Yonkers, they gathered around to do a candlelight vigil for him. So shout out to Yonkers. And I hope that we all try to continue to live on his legacy and his memory and understand not even just music with movies such as Belly. This is also according to the article from USA Today, such as Belly, Romeo Must Die, very iconic hip-hop movies. So along with his iconic music movies as well. So yeah, continue to honor him. But Thomas, let's get into some of your stories, some of your segments. What you got for us?
Wait a minute. I was gonna say.
Dodgy. Yes, of course we can't forget about Dodgy.
Also, I saw that the Bronx honored him by making a mural for him, which is really nice. It's a Queens native restaurant owner. He like put it right in front of his restaurant. It was really nice. So people go and like, they remember him whenever they pass by it. So it's a nice thought.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
She's
It's making me
iconic.
so emotional.
Even the dog
Right.
was iconic. Even the pit bull. Well, I don't know what her name was, but the pit bull that he always used to. It was on some of the album art and stuff. He always used to have the dog with him, like at all times.
Always.
Like even he would be in ciphers or like battling people, and he would have the
Always.
dog with him still. And like it's just he's an icon. Even if you don't know rap, you know a DMX song.
DMX,
Like,
exactly.
and even if you don't know it, it will set the party off. Gary, Party Up will set the party off. X gonna give it to you. Will set the party off. Like it. Even if you have no idea who this is, like they're iconic.
You know the song.
They're iconic hip hop songs. So yeah. Thomas, what you got?
All right, well, to shift gears in album release news, legendary British musician Paul McCartney will be releasing McCartney 3 Imagine this Friday, April 16th. The project will be a remix album of his last album, McCartney 3, which came out last year and was his 18th studio album, serving as a follow-up to McCartney's 1970 debut solo album, simply titled McCartney, and his 1980 sophomore album, McCartney 2. The initial 45-minute album received critical acclaim upon its release in December 2020. And its upcoming version is set to include reinterpretations, remixes, and covers of tracks off McCartney 3. The album is set to include remixes by artists such as Dominic Fike, St. Vincent, Damon Albarn, and Anderson .Paak, in addition to features from the likes of Beck and Phoebe Bridgers. The album is set to hit streaming services this Friday, with the physical album set to be released this July. The physical version will also include an exclusive 12th track not included in the digital version, a remixed version of the song Long-Tailed Winter Bird by English actor and DJ Idris Elba. In Bad Bunny news, the Latin music star made his WrestleMania debut this past Sunday at WrestleMania 37 in a tag team match alongside Damian Priest, defeating the team of The Miz and John Morrison. Following the match, Bad Bunny announced a North American tour for next year, 2022, with dates ranging from February 9th to April 1st. The tour is called El Último Tour del Mundo, meaning the last tour of the world in Spanish, bearing the same name as his last album released in November 2020. Tickets go on sale this Friday, April 16th, and he'll be coming to our area, performing at Prudential Center in Newark on March 18th, 2022, and Barclays Center in Brooklyn the following day on March 19th. And in ironic music news, teenage pop sensation Olivia Rodrigo, singer-songwriter of the smash hit Driver's License, revealed on her Instagram story that she received her first ever parking ticket, presenting a photo of her holding her City of Los Angeles parking violation notice with the caption, quote, "This driving isn't all fun and games," end quote. There's not much else to the story there, as she hasn't said anything else on the subject, but I just thought I'd share that because I found it to be hilarious.
That's so cute.
Very
She's
on
just an
brand.
adorable person.
Mhm.
Very, very much so. I think her whole brand is driver's license at this point, so I think it's cute.
I
Bad
feel
Bunny
like
being a wrestler. That's
Look.
I feel like she might be Olivia Rodrigo might be the next Taylor Swift. I don't know why, but I have that vibe.
I hope not, because I don't like the first one.
Whoa, what?
I hope.
What? What?
I'm not too fond of Taylor. I told you Taylor's the main character, but I mean I'm not too fond of Taylor. So
Swifty sneaks.
Oh my
Swift.
God.
Nah, I'm not.
they're gonna tweet us, Tara. Thanks.
Yeah, they're gonna
tweet us.
cancel us.
I've been talking about Taylor Swift like this entire semester on this segment. This is the first time hearing this.
We just like
Uh,
hearing you talk, Thomas.
Yeah,
That's
we
different.
enjoy and respect your opinions. I can't
Wow.
get with Swifty sneaks, but it's about Bad Bunny being a wrestler. Look, as a
That's
as a
just
pro
random.
as a pro wrestling fan, for a minute, I'll say this: if it gets more people involved and it brings people happiness, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna be like? Yeah, like if it brings people happiness and it brings people to enjoy the art, like.
But we can't say the same about Taylor Swift's music. You can't at all.
Absolutely not. It's
Well,
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I mean, I was gonna bring up the whole possible connection to a white supremacist thing, but she sued the last person to talk about that. So,
Tara's trying to get us canceled and thrown off the air.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm a sleeper agent. I've been sent inside to destroy the morning buzz from within. I've failed for so many
Failed.
I'm just really bad at it. It's just to keep they keep bringing me back. And I just can't.
They're low on
seal the
staffing.
deal. I
They're
can't
low on
seal the
staff.
deal. Could you imagine if that's just my whole plot line at WMSC is I was brought in to like destroy the buzz, but I'm
And she
really
ended up
bad at
liking
it,
it.
so I keep getting brought back.
Her villain origin story.
Just the worst villain ever. Like, just cannot accomplish my goal whatsoever.
Several sequels.
It's just no. With the Bad Bunny thing, like, if it brings people happiness, it brings more people to enjoy pro wrestling. Because pro wrestling's awesome. Like, if it makes you like, come on, what am I gonna say that's negative? Why?
Do you know-
Why would I?
It's just random.
funny?
Like
It is.
Like, how he put out like that his tours like next year. A lot of people are like making TikToks. I've already seen like 2 or 3, and they're hilarious. Like saying, "How do you tell us this like a week before? We have to prepare. We have to get our money. Like we want to sit right in front of you. We want to feel your sweat." And it was like so
but
descriptive.
I feel that sentiment though, Daji. Like I understand.
Yeah, I do too. I'm like I would've
maybe not for Bad Bunny,
appreciated-
but like I understand,
we don't
Yeah,
even know how
exactly.
much they're gonna cost. So it's like
They're
it's
gonna be
gonna be a
through the roof.
surprise altogether.
It's gonna
Oh yeah,
be
Thomas,
so
100%. If you thought scalping was bad before COVID, do you imagine what's gonna happen? They're gonna go like those ticket prices are gonna go insane.
Well,
But we it's gonna be ridiculous for big shows, especially. It's gonna be ridiculous. But that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Thomas, Matt, Daji, our producer Amanda, Jazz. Anything else you want to say before we wrap?
No, just shout out to everyone. Stay blessed. And
Absolutely.
wash your hands and wear a mask, please.
Stay on protocol. We're almost there.
And
All
stream
right.
Taylor Swift. That's it. Thank you.
We'll see you guys
Goodbye,
tomorrow. The
everybody.
Boarding Buzz at 8.
8
WMSC
a.m.
Upper Montclair, the voice of Montclair State University.